Let's talk about some strikeouts. I got 3 of them for you. Let's go. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Craig Ben, AK Cash Keg. We're talking a little bit about MLB strikeouts. I found 3 that I do like, but not a day that I really like the strikeouts. They've moved a lot of these lines, but I did find 3 that I still do like, and I'll talk about and give you the analysis of those. Usually on a card this big, there's more plays that I do like in strikeouts, but going through them, doing the research, there's not a ton, but I did find 3 that I do like. Again, we'll talk about each and every one of those things. And hey, if you like these videos, hit that like button for me, subscribe to the channel. We'll keep chugging along here, and let's just dive right into it and talk about these 3 plays and give you my analysis. Let's go. All right, MLB strikeouts. If you do not have an account, use that promo code DFSArmy and get 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Again, we're going to talk a little strikeouts here. I got 1 under and 2 overs for you. We'll dive into all 3 of them and tell you why I like them. And we'll just dive right in here. So first one we're going to go, it's probably my least favorite out of the 3, but we'll talk about it because they moved the line already. And it's Alcantara under 5 strikeouts. Now the line was at 5.5 earlier. I preferred if you can get to that. The juice is on the under at 5.5 at -150. Washington, though, the last 30 days is ranked 27th in MLB in strikeouts against righties at only a 19.9% clip. So Alcantara, he's kind of middle of the pack when it comes to swinging strike rate. So around 11%. So nothing too concerning there. He does go pretty deep. He's pitching average around 98 pitches a game over his last 5 games here. So now he pitched back on April 26th against Washington. He had 5 strikeouts against them and pitched 96 pitches. 26% were strikes. Pretty consistent across the board here. Again, I wish we could get it at 5.5, but we don't. I still think this is a play here at 5. Kind of look at the Washington lineup. A lot of the guys in that lineup don't really strike out a ton. We look at, there's 2 Hernandezes in that lineup, that's projected lineup. They both strike out around 21% of the time and 23% of the time. And Robles, at the end, 33%. But everybody else, Bell, 14%, Soto, 13%. Even Cruz, he's at 19%. So there's a lot of guys that, don't strike out in that lineup. And they've done pretty well recently. Now, Alcantara is a 21% strikeout pitcher, 20% to the lefties, 22% to righties. And, if we look at what he's done the last 5 games, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. He's been super consistent. Like I said, he only put up 5 strikeouts against this Washington team back in April, so a couple weeks ago. But, again, looking at their last 30 days of what this team has done, I'm going to go ahead and take the under. He pitched 6 innings in that game against Washington. But, again, I'm going to take a shot on the under. If you're able to get the under 5.5 out there on a regular book, I would prefer that. But, they moved the line down to 5. I'll still take a chance on it. Again, he had 5 against Washington earlier. But this is probably out of the 3, this is the one I dislike the most. The next one we'll talk about here, we're going to come down and we're going to go talk about Chris Archer. We're going to go over 4 here. This line moved a ton as well, but it was sitting at 4.5 at some spots with the juice on the over at -130, and it got bet down to 4. But I still like the over here. Oakland against right-handed bats, the last 30 days, they are ranked 8th in MLB at 24%. They strike out. Walk rate is super low as well, around 7% walk rate. So I like the over. Those are all both great numbers for the over. Kind of see what he's done the last 5 games. 5 strikeouts against KC, which is a team that doesn't strike out a ton. 2 against White Sox, 4 against Tampa Bay, 6 against Baltimore, and then 2 against Houston. The only concern I have with Archer is his pitch count, because if we look at his pitch count, he's averaging 74 pitches over his last 5, which is not great. 76, 61, 79, 76, and 75. So that's the one thing that does concern me. But if we look at, he's a 22% K rate this season. 27% against lefties, 18% against righties. So there should be some lefties in this lineup that he can face, that he's mows down a little bit more. But there's a lot of Ks to be had in this lineup as well on the Oakland side here. Murphy's a 30% K rate guy this year. Pender's a 40% K rate guy. So there's some big. Brown's 26%, and he's a lefty. But up and down, there's probably 5 guys in this projected lineup that are high K guys that we can attack here against these Oakland guys. And he pitches mainly against the lefties. He's mainly a fastball slider guy. Throws that slider a ton. 50% against lefties, 62% against righties. Kind of look a little bit and see if these guys struggle against that slider at all. And Seth Brown, 43% whiff rate against swinging strike rate against that left slider, and he struggles as it is. So that should be a couple Ks for him right there. But yeah, I think that 4 number is just too low. I'm glad it moved a little bit, but like I said, the pitch count is the only thing that concerns me about this play. But again, the juice is on the over, and the line is at 4.5, and you can get it at 4 here. So all the numbers kind of line up to me that, maybe we can get that 5 strikeouts for him in those limited pitches that he does throw. So I'm going to go ahead and take the over on this one. And then the last one we're going to talk about, it just moved. The line was at 5. I think it started at 5.5, and I've seen other people play the under on this. But I'm going to go John Gray, and I'm going to go the over on this. I know some people were talking it up on taking the under at 5.5, and maybe I would consider that if it was at 5.5. But we got the line coming down to 4.5. I'll take the over on this. The juice is at -160. If we look at the Angels have done over the last 30 days, they're ranked 7th in strikeouts against right-handed pitchers at 25% clip. So you have to love that. Now, he hasn't struck out a ton of guys, when we look at what he's done over his, this season, 4-4, 3-4 strikeouts. But we're talking about Toronto, Seattle, Philly, and the Yankees. And his pitch count, 70, 77, 60, 77. So, that's a concern as well. So if we can get 5 innings out of him, looking at that strikeouts, what the Angels have done, I think they just struck out a ton last night. We might be able to get there. Again, let's look at what he's done, through the season. 22% K rate through the season, 26% against lefties, 20% against righties. And there's a ton of strikeouts in this lineup, right? Walsh, 27% strikeout. Marsh, 29% strikeout. Trout's been a 27% strikeout. Ward, 25%. There's just a lot of guys in this lineup that can strike out, and he's done better against the lefties. So there's some lefties in there. Ohtani's only 19%, but again, there's 3-4 lefties in this lineup, and he's done really well against those guys this year. Throws basically a fastball, slider, and a changeup. It's basically 3 pitches that he does use majority of the time. 40% slider against those righties. Lefties throws a lot of sliders and changeups, but mainly uses that fastball at 50% clip against lefties and righties. So, I'll take a chance on the over here. If that line was at 5.5, I can understand taking the under for sure. But if we can get her down to 4.5 here, this might be a spot against the Angels that have been just swinging at everything. That he might be able to get us some strikeouts here. So I'm going to take a chance on the over for John Gray here. Again, both on these overs on Archer and Gray. The pitch counts do worry me just a tad, but the numbers kind of line up with, the guys they are facing, with, how bad they've been against those pitchers. So we're going to take the over. So I would go Chris Archer over 4 strikeouts, John Gray over 4.5, and then I'd go Alcantara under 5 strikeouts. So there's 3 guys for you. Again, I don't really love the strikeout props over here on Prizepicks today. It's not my favorite looking at it with what they've done, but I wanted to throw a couple out there that I did like. And maybe you disagree with these and you want to completely take the under. They're just giving you my analysis on them. And good luck today. So with that, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Deuces.